Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today we are grabbing the sources, skipping the keynotes, and really taking a scalpel to the whole AI narrative.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to cut through all the stories about disruption and, innovation to focus on just one thing.
And that's where it delivers measurable operational value.
Exactly. For you, the leader who is actually responsible for accountable business outcomes.
That's absolutely right. Our mission today is really driven by that feedback loop from leaders who need results, not just stories. The goal is supporting disciplined decision-making.
And clear ownership.
Clear ownership, and most importantly, accountable execution. We have to stop treating AI as some kind of strategic identity and start seeing it for what it is.
An operational input.
Just an operational input. And its real value, it's defined by only 3 core outcomes: reducing operational friction, improving decision quality, and supporting execution reliability.
Okay, let's unpack that central confusion then. If those 3 outcomes define what success looks like, what's the foundational error that organizations keep making?
It's what the sources are calling the AI as strategy confusion.
AI as strategy confusion.
Yeah. Organizations treat AI itself as the strategy, like it's the destination, rather than what it is.
A capability, a tool.
Just a tool. And this immediately, it leads to 3 pretty lethal outcomes. Unclear objectives for that tool, ownership that's scattered all over the place, and ultimately, you get these high activity levels that have no measurable impact on the business.
So if that strategy confusion is the disease, then process clarity must be the cure.
It has to be.
So if we stop focusing on the buzzword and we start focusing on capability, how should we rigorously evaluate a potential AI initiative before we put serious capital behind it?
You have to evaluate it exactly like you would any other established operational capability. It starts with that process clarity and, clear ownership.
Right.
Success really just relies on answering 5 foundational questions about the initiative, and you have to pass all 5.
All 5, what are they?
Does it reduce friction? Does it improve decisions? Does it support execution? Is ownership clear? And finally, are the outcomes measurable?
That is a brutally efficient filter.
Yeah.
But just to be practical here, if an initiative improves decisions by, say, 10%, but the accountability for it isn't clear, you're saying shut it down.
Precisely. If even one of those conditions isn't met, you don't have an operational lever, you have a science project.
And this is where it gets really interesting. The sources highlight these recognizable patterns that derail initiatives, even after they've passed a small test. What are some of the most common failures we need to look out for?
So the first dangerous one is the pilot to production collapse.
Okay.
An experiment succeeds in a sandbox. It looks great in isolation. It might achieve high accuracy, but then it just fails completely when it's exposed to real-world complexity.
Why? What's the failure point?
Because there's no defined error tolerance or, and this is the critical part, no defined integration plan or owner after the experiment ends.
I've seen that. I've also seen the tool-first adoption problem, where a team buys a really sophisticated solution just because it's out there, before they even define the business problem it's supposed to solve.
That's a massive waste of energy. But I think the most insidious pattern, the one that's hardest to spot, is the increased workload failure.
How does that work?
This is where the AI system, it actually introduces new administrative steps. Things like review overhead, exception handling, or these mandatory trust verification steps.
So the human workload isn't actually reduced.
It's not reduced at all. It's nearly shifted. You now have a person spending 2 hours a day just checking the machine's homework.
And that's a net loss.
A total net loss.
So if the work is just shifting around, how do we correctly measure success and not fall into that vanity trap?
We have to reject vanity metrics. Things like time saved, model accuracy improvements, or even usage statistics. They often fail to correlate with actual realized business outcomes.
So what should we measure?
The ultimate outcome. Fewer errors, faster throughput, higher gross margin, whatever actually matters to the business. We also have to eliminate what's called ownership ambiguity. Meaning, if an AI drives a decision, clear accountability for that output has to be assigned to a specific human, a team. Otherwise, you get diffused responsibility, which just encourages either total risk avoidance or a really dangerous, unhealthy over-reliance on the algorithm.
That distinction is so key, enforcing ownership of the output, not the tool. So finally, when does this pursuit of AI value actually increase risk or cost? instead of reducing it.
It happens when you fall into the trap of over-automation of low-value decisions.
The easy stuff.
Exactly. Organizations focus on automating the easy, low-risk decisions that honestly offer very limited upside. By avoiding the complex, high-value judgment areas, they just consume resources, they misplace their confidence, and they fail to materially affect the company's trajectory.
So it comes back to the 5 tests.
It always comes back to the 5 tests. If the initiative doesn't meet them, it should be stopped immediately.
Okay, so let's synthesize this for the listener.
The core judgment for you, the operational leader, is this. AI has to be held to the same pragmatic standard as any other capital investment. Its value is defined only by demonstrable improvements in operational performance, and its use is strictly contingent upon clear accountability and measurable, realized results tied directly back to the business.
Thank you for joining us for this deep dive into operational accountability in AI. That should give you plenty of criteria to apply to your next project.